Unmute. I found it. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. How you doing? I always have to make sure I turn off the music before I start the recording. Otherwise, YouTube chucks a fruity at me and won't let me post the video. So, checking I am recording. Hello to you if you are watching the recording. Hello to you if you're here live. Hi, Catherine, who joined us. I think it was yesterday. Was it yesterday? It's been a strange week. Short but long. Lovely to see you. All right, and I'm sure a few more wonderful people will be dropping in, but we want to get started because there's a few things I want to cover today. We're taking a little bit of a slight change of tact, and we're moving into really connecting with our money in a very practical way. So there's a few things I want to cover, a few things I want to talk about. I'm going to start by asking you to let us know in the chat box what's something really awesome that happened this week. What's some abundance that came your way, something that feels abundant, or some beautiful money. Sharon's sitting there with a stack of cash in front of her, which is pretty exciting. You should do the throw it all up in the air thing, but then you have to clean it all up afterwards. No. Yes. That'd make a really nice little video for me. Could you? Would you? No. Okay. So let us know what beautiful, abundant things you've got going on that we're celebrating with you today. And while you're doing that as well, I've asked our beautiful Jackie Lawson, who's one of our accountability leaders and also certified magnetic money coach, who posted all about her beautiful retreat that she's going to be offering in the group. So I'm just going to throw to Jackie for a moment as well to just tell us a little bit more about it. And if you know somebody who would love that, please point them in Jackie's direction because this is going to be awesome. So, Jackie, do you want to just take the floor for a moment?
Yeah, I'm going to, and I'm glad that I'm doing this right at the first up because I'm manned with puppy treats. Okay, so hi everyone. I'm glad to be here with you today. My business focuses on empowering women to live with joy and purpose. I'm known for holding space, listening, and hearing between the lines. By doing this, I intuitively find myself offering ideas from very, very different perspective to assist you on your journey. Last year, I became a certified magnetic money coach, as Miriam just said, and now can guide you in the setup and management of your money system. But I want to take a moment to talk to you about something that I believe can be truly transformative and the basis for my offer to the members of the Magnetic Money Club during this live round. Life is full of changes, and sometimes those changes can leave us feeling a bit lost or unsure of what comes next. Whether you're navigating the grief of losing a loved one, facing the transition into retirement, dealing with a job loss, or adjusting to life as an empty nester, it's completely normal to feel a shift in your identity and purpose. That's where the What's Next retreat comes in. This retreat is designed to provide you with the time and space to reflect, recharge, and rediscover what's next for you. Imagine a supportive community of women, all on similar journeys, coming together to share experiences, insights, and encouragement. We'll offer a variety of workshops that focus on practical skills, tools, and practices to help you gain clarity on your next steps. Whether it's exploring new passions, setting goals, or simply finding peace in the present moment, you'll leave feeling empowered and inspired. This really is more than just a retreat. It's your chance to connect with others who understand what you're going through. We'll create a safe space where you can express your feelings, share your stories, and build lasting friendships. I invite you to join us at the What's Next retreat, where you can embrace this new chapter of your life with confidence and support. I'm offering this retreat at an exclusive price and some extra bonuses as well for Magnetic Money Club members until the 15th of November. A $500 deposit will hold your spot, and payment plans are available. If the idea of attending this retreat speaks to you, I'd encourage you to schedule a little chat with me to discuss it in more detail. Thank you for this opportunity of sharing, Miriam.
You're so welcome. And I love that you took the opportunity to tell people about your offer and put it all together so beautifully and succinctly. So yay, well done, because that's sort of a sneaky added bonus of this. Is like, come on, Jackie, you've got to practice telling people about your retreat. And it looks absolutely amazing. If you've seen the photos and the venue, like just that alone, I'm like, I want to be there. It looks so beautiful. So go check it out. It's all about helping people, just take that time out that we need when we've had a major life change to actually figure out what we want to do next. And I think that's just a beautiful, beautiful purpose to coming together like this, and then guided by you, of course. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for all that you do for this community. All right, we've got some things in the chat box. I'd like to see a few more. Paid the phone bill, got paid by the local shire for yoga classes. Yes, 2 new people interested in getting a contract for the house we're selling. Yep. Things just kind of start to pop up and flow, and it's really important to notice them, to celebrate them. And, that's why I was saying to Sharon, doesn't matter if it's not even your money. You've got a pile of cash sitting in front of you. Like, that's the energy of money. It's right there for you. So just use any excuse you can to get yourself back into that space. So just quickly, before I get into what we're talking about today, which is taking stock of our money, I've popped up some focus sessions for next week. The link is the usual. There's an event in the Facebook group. There's also the link in the members site. So jump on that, book yourself in, limited spots available. And as always, if something pops up and you can't make it, please make sure you cancel to open up the space for somebody else. Doesn't happen often, but it's really, really appreciated. Okay. Has anyone got any questions or anything you want to just quickly touch on with what we've talked about in the previous weeks? Let me know now. Feel welcome to just unmute yourself and jump in. We've talked about just becoming more self-aware, and that being a skill we need to practice consistently, that we need to take forward with us in life, like actually paying attention to what's going on. How am I feeling? What am I thinking? What am I doing? Is it all actually a match? And once we get to the next stage, so now we're going to be focusing on the practical side of money for the next few weeks, then we're actually going to go back to rounding that up. So I purposely put this practical stuff in the center of our live round this time, so that we kind of, last week we talked about raising our vibration the week before, but last week we talked about specifically our energy around money and starting to really notice that, and also being smart enough not to try and push through when there's a whole bunch of resistance, like to actually back away. So today we're actually moving on to, all right, how do we organize our money and really put it to work for us and have a really healthy relationship where we're keeping our money nice and tidy, giving every dollar a job to do, and then our money can serve us. So that's, getting really hands-on. And if every time you do that, there's weird energy around it, then that's going to be really counterproductive. So that's why this is a really good time to talk about this, because last week, and if you haven't watched last week's recording, watch the recording and definitely watch the module, is all about paying attention to that specific energy around money and just figuring out ways to work yourself in, if you can, to get closer and more specific on that topic, and leaving the resistance behind, and also realizing when, no, I'm just fooling myself here. I'm just kidding myself. I'm taking the resistance with me, or it's getting worse. So that's when you actually just back away and, even just completely change topic, go for a walk, just do a total pattern interrupt. So we talked about that so far. And if anyone has any questions, which I haven't seen pop up in the chat box, but just jump in and let me know. So then we're moving on to really getting our money system sorted. And luckily for you, if you need some one-on-one hands-on help, like somebody to actually sit with you and help you do it, we've got certified coaches who can do that. So it starts with taking stock and actually having a look at our money and figuring out where our starting point is. And as we do that, as we start getting more practical and, getting past all those old stories around, oh, I'm not good with money or there's never enough. Like once we actually look at what's going on, number one, we realize that actually I can do this. And number two, most people who, if they come into Magnetic Money going, oh, there's not enough, and that's my big problem. Once they actually sit down and put it all together, they might go, actually, no, there is enough. It's just going to all the wrong places. Or, yeah, there's not enough, but it's not as big a deal as I thought. It's actually only a relatively small gap. And I'm thinking specifically about Anna Mason, who, when she actually started putting her system together and taking stock of where everything was, went, okay, yeah, we do have a gap. I didn't even realize we had a gap, but now I know why we haven't been moving forward. We've been moving backwards. And then she could actually look at addressing that. So it helps like really empower you and create that really powerful hands-on relationship with money. So you get clarity. From there, you can put a strategy together and a plan in place for executing that. And that is what we do, right? And it's a very healing thing. It gets you past a whole lot of old stories and a whole lot of old programming and things you've been telling yourself. And it stops you from constantly robbing future you and learning how to really take loving care of your money so it can start taking loving care of you in return. So the beautiful side effect of all of this, which a lot of people who do mindset work and even money work avoid, is that when you actually start empowering yourself around your money and learning how to take care of it and how to actually organize it so that the bills are being paid, you're moving forward, you're achieving your goals, and you've got fun money that you can spend without feeling guilty about it or worried about it. When you do that, it actually up-levels your mindset and it actually shifts your energy around money. So it helps with the mindset work. It helps with the energetic work. It helps make all of that easier. When people avoid interfacing with their money and actually taking care of it and thinking, oh no, I'll just manifest some more, I'll just shift my money mindset so it magically gets easier, they're just bullshitting themselves. Because if you are not comfortable sitting down, like dealing with your money, you've got a big money block, and that's something to work on. So that's why we, take this holistic approach. So basically, the process of putting your money system together is covered in this book. The links are all over the place. If you can't find it, just yell out. But it's an 8-step process, and I always recommend people get the paperback version. It is available in Kindle, but it's basically a workbook where you kind of work through it as you go. So you can scribble in the book, and I want you to. Miriam will be happy if you post a selfie of you with my book and you've got scribbles all through it, because that means you're actually absorbing it, you're working with it, rather than just kind of, oh yeah, I must get to that one day kind of approach. So it's an 8-step process we go through to set up your money system, but it starts by just taking stock and getting comfortable with the planner. So there's a tutorial in the module for today, and I'll quickly point out where things are, but I will quickly also give you an extra fast tour of the planner, just so that if anyone has a question or there's something where you're like, I don't know what that's about or how to use that, you can sing out on the call today. And we're just starting with step 1, right? That's it. There are 8 steps. Today, really, we're just focusing on step 1. But obviously, if you've got questions about other things because you've done that before, you're working ahead, that's totally fine. So before we go there, one of the things I like you to think about as you're doing this work is, rather than just going, oh, I need to do something about my money mindset, I need to improve my money mindset, I'd encourage you to start thinking about cultivating a wealth mindset. So take a moment to ponder that. Like, what's the difference for you? What do you feel would be the difference between improving your money mindset and actually adopting a wealth mindset? What do you think the difference would be? Like, even if you just feel into it, how do they feel different? What do you think the difference might be? Pop it in the chat box. So Charlene says it feels safe and abundant. Claire says, I love the word wealth. Feels so abundant. Yep. Living in scarcity versus doing things I like to do with no guilt. Yep. Feels more relaxed. Wealth mindset is more of a feeling as it encompasses so much more than just money. Yes, that's a good one, Karen. So a wealth mindset really, like if I want to describe what the difference feels like to me, a wealth mindset is about having a really solid foundation. You know, knowing that money's got your back and you can focus on other things. You don't have to really worry about money because you know that's sorted. And that's what we're looking to achieve here, right? We want you to get to a stage where you're not really thinking about money, you're thinking about more important things or higher level things because you know money's got your back and you know you're on track and you know how to do it and it doesn't take much of your time. You know, I call this the 5-minute magnetic money management system because once it's set up, really 5 minutes a week is all it should take you to organize your money, even and especially if you have irregular cash flow, because that's what it's all about. Feels like a being, yes, being a wealth mindset, like embodying it, right? Feels comfortable, beautiful. So it's really important to notice, and this is why we start with, you know, hashtag notice, like practice self-awareness, reflect a lot on these things because it shows you where you're at and it shows you where there's opportunity for growth. So if you notice that when you think about, oh, I've got to have a better money mindset, it actually comes from a place of lack and I don't want to feel like that background level of stress and uncertainty anymore and maybe even worry or fear or anxiety. Like if improving your money mindset is hooked into that, then start thinking, well, how can I shift that feeling and how can I start thinking about, no, I actually want to cultivate a mindset of wealth where the things I do with my money are there to help me create that beautiful, stable foundation that allows me to have an amazing life and do lots of really cool things in my business. And Catherine says it's about seeing unlimited opportunity. Yes, exactly. Not being restricted, right? And it's like when people say, oh, I just really need to manifest some more money. It's usually, you know, the rest of the sentence goes because there's not enough. So they're actually focused on lack. They're focused on not enough. And so it's really important to notice those things. Like, where are you actually coming from? What's the subtext? What are you actually saying? So the other question I have for you to reflect on and please share with me is, what was your parents' approach to money management? You know, what did you witness and what was modeled to you in terms of taking care of money? Did your parents talk to you about money even? Did you even know how they managed their money, what their approach was? Were they just all about, you know, scrimping and saving and making every penny stretch? Or were they like, the universe will take care of me? So I have a really great like parental reference because I have the two extremes. My mum would literally be able to manage it down to cents and she would micromanage money like really intensely. And my dad was like, yeah, it'll be fine. And he was just really good at going backwards, no matter his level of income. I grew up with the Bank of Dad. Oh, the Bank of Dad. So you go to Dad to ask for money. That's actually really interesting. Hey, Sharon, can we chat about that for a second? Because I'm sure you're not alone. I'd like to hear this out
absolutely.
loud.
Absolutely.
So what does that entail, having the Bank of Dad? What does that mean? How do you get money?
I just go to Dad and ask for it.
Right. And what was the condition for getting the money? Was there conditions to it?
Hold on. I learned that as long as I had a reason for the money, I'm just going to put captions on. As long as I had reasons for it, it was like always there. So therefore I would go to Dad and say, Dad, I remember saying this when I was about 11 years old, going up to Dad in the office because Mum and Dad always worked long, long hours, and saying, Dad, cost of living's gone up and I think I need to have an allowance rise. And he went, how much do you think you need? So I told him and he said, okay. And if I
Wow.
wanted any,
Interesting.
yeah, and if I wanted anything, I'd just have a reason for it. As long as I had a reason, I could have what I
Mhm.
wanted. And then if when I was 16, because that was the minimum age, I got a bank card. Remember bank cards? In the
Yes.
old days, those late generation X's won't have a clue what we're talking about. But we had I had a bank card, and when Dad and I would go and spend lots of money on that bank card, we would go out. I would use it to buy me clothes. We would go out for lunch or for dinner or something like that, and then Mum would pay the bill.
Okay. So, in terms of knowing how that money was being organized and managed in the background, did you have a clue?
Nope.
Where was the money coming from? Who made sure that that was the money for you to go and have a great day out with Dad?
I don't know. Dad just was an unlimited supply of money. He bought me my first car. When that broke, when I crashed into a roo at 140 k's an hour and wrote the car off, he bought me another car. Mum was a stingy one. Mum was like, no, you can't have that. No, you can't have that. No, you can't have that. So I just go, Dad. I never went to Mum.
Bank
And
at Dad.
Mum would pay Dad would pay everything. Dad was on a really good wage. He'd never had money when he was young, and I was kind of like the first generation in our family to grow up with wealth. So private schools, all that sort of stuff, holidays overseas, all that sort of stuff. First, the youngest person in our family to fly on a plane, all those sort of things. So, yeah, Bank of Dad.
Bank of Dad. Interesting.
My boss.
So, thank you for sharing that. So, really interesting, right? To think back and go, what did I witness growing up? Like, what was the message I received, and what was I shown? Like for Sharon, it's like money would just had to ask for it, and it would come, and she had no clue as to where it came from. It's just like, oh, there must be a tap somewhere, and Dad's the one who knows how to turn it on. Go on.
I still, if I'm really short of money, do a money spell so that the money can just come to me.
Yep.
And I still, even though Dad's passed on, I still do money spells. I have absolutely no idea where the money comes from. It just comes from it. Remember a couple of years ago, I was just manifesting not money, but gifts. And I got lots and lots of gifts from everyone, because that's what Dad used to do as well. And I realized that that's how I do it, is I just I expect the universe to be able to cover my expenses.
Yeah. So we repeat the pattern. And you weren't ever shown that there's actually such a thing as managing your money and knowing, so that you know where it comes from and you're in control of what's available and what it's for.
Absolutely. And it was a rude awakening when Mum died and we found out that she only had 20,000 left of their super, and that's all the money they had.
Yep.
A rude awakening.
So really interesting. So I just want to read through a couple of these. If anybody else wants to have a chat about theirs, whether it's to just help you work it out, or because you're not quite sure what you got out of that, let me know. My dad was a spender. My mum used to hide money in envelopes everywhere. Yes, I know that one. My ex-father-in-law was a hider of money, and like 2 years after he died, we found $5,000 cash taped to the bottom of the oven. Greeks. Right? We're like, shit, where else is there money in this house? Still finding some, 2 years after her death. Okay. Catherine, both my parents are very good savers, always take the path of lowest risk. Absolutely. Charlene says, Mum handled the finances and all things money. Yep, Dad was the spender. Same with my parents. Jackie never spoke about money. Yeah, interesting, right? I really never knew how little we had until I was in my teens. Yep. Claire had mixed signals as well. Dad was a well-respected grazier, very humble taste, lived in a humble house, just didn't have flashy things. Yep. So you didn't feel wealthy. His goal was not to qualify for the pension because he was too wealthy. That's a nice goal to have. I love that. Dad managed the money in Karen's house and Mum was given an allowance. Ouch. Yep. Not unusual at all for that generation, but ouch. Yeah. In our house, it's more the other way around. So it's interesting, right? And money is such a big deal in our lives, and we have to know how to take care of it. And so many people just don't. They don't really know how to do it properly. They don't really have a system. They kind of figure some stuff out. They wing it a little bit, and and then it's no wonder that there's so much discomfort around it and so much uncertainty, because uncertainty breeds discomfort. And if you're constantly kind of second guessing, oh, am I doing the right thing? Or did I do the right thing with that? I have so many conversations, less these days, because I think I've been very militant with all of you guys. But I used to have so many conversations on these calls where people would be like, oh, I've had some money come in, like, an inheritance or something. I just need to try and figure out what to do with it. I'm like, well, let's go to your money system and your money plan. Like, what's the plan? It doesn't matter whether it's the next 5 cents or the next 5,000. And once you've got a plan, it's just follow the plan. The priorities don't suddenly change. Did spend the allowance wisely? Yeah. And that's, Karen, my ex-mother-in-law, would get a weekly allowance as well for groceries. And she would always save money. And it was such a tiny allowance, but she would always save. And then she'd try and give it to us. We're like, don't be silly. But yeah, she did. Jackie's mum did the books for Dad's blacksmithing business. There you go. So really important to look back at all that modeling and break the cycle, right? Break the cycle. So another little concept I just want to talk about is the model that most people tend to follow when they organize their money. And I remember Bob Proctor called it the formula for staying broke. And it's when they take their income and they deduct and pay their expenses and bills, and then they try to save what's left. And what happens, of course, is invariably Parkinson's law takes over. The amount of resource needed to accomplish any given thing is the amount of resource available. If you remember back to school and uni days, if you had a month to do an assignment, it would take you a month. If you had a week, it would take you a week. If you had 24 hours, you get on with it and get it done. So things tend to swell and take up all the space available, and money's no different to that. So that's why it's so important to be really clear on what do you want your money to give you? What do you want your money to create for you? What are your priorities and your goals, and why are those things important, and what's the lifestyle and the benefit you're going to get out of it? And that's what helps you stay really systematic and not go, oh, there's some extra money. Well, oops, what happened to that? Because that's a really common pattern if you don't have a system and if you don't have a plan that you kind of stick to. So we want to flip that on its head. And the whole purpose of our money system is that we switch that formula around. And instead of saying savings, let's say wealth. The wealth I want to create plus the expenses I need to cover can be my new income goal. Right? So the wealth I want to create and the money I need to do that, plus the expenses I need to cover, is my income goal. We all have businesses. We all have unlimited opportunity for generating income. So when you flip that formula on its head, it's exactly the same variables in there: income, expenses, and savings, which we're reframing to wealth. It's the same pieces of the puzzle, but we're just completely switching it up. And that switches it up in here, and it totally changes your focus. Michelle just shared Dad was definitely stingier with money, but you saw them both doing accounting. Yep, Dad was writing the checks, Mum was doing the typing. And that's a lot of farming to manage. Wow. Dad doling out the cash and Mum asking for more while he rolled his eyes. We've talked about this several times too, Michelle, haven't we, when we've gone through the money story stuff, like that thing of, oh, you want more money, all right, you've got to kind of, and this whole having to go and ask permission, and somebody else is in charge of deciding whether you should have it or not. Like all of these things become very deep. So when it comes to organizing your money, just before I start screen sharing and going through the planner and talking about some practical things, when it comes to managing your money, what trips you up the most? Let me know. I want to know what trips you up the most. children. So children needing money, having emergencies, yeah. Desperation. So trips you up from, managing your money, like staying on course with your money system, variable income. Okay, cool. Working time for money, too many expenses, health issues, emergencies. Okay, keep them coming, because it's interesting for you to take note of what are the reasons you give yourself, which, let's be honest, they're excuses. What are those excuses you come up with for not staying the course with being really systematic in the way that you organize your money? And you know what? Sometimes you're going to screw it up, or sometimes it's going to blow up because of something you hadn't foreseen or allowed for. But that just helps you go back to it and go, well, how can I make my money system more bulletproof? How can I, allow for those unforeseen emergencies, health issues? How can I have a fund that is specifically for those things? How can I make sure that I have a fund where I know this is money that I've put aside in case my children, if that's one of your high priorities and something you know is going to come up, if they have need, that I can help them, right? Variable income is actually part of how we approach our magnetic money system, right? So it's like, okay, if you're saying variable income is the issue, then it's about actually going back and understanding how to use the magnetic money system to smooth that, because that's built into it. Not wanting to get ripped off, so spending hours researching to save not much. Ooh, yeah. By desperation, Sharon says, believe the money will be there. My partner lives in desperation. Yes, we talked about that a lot last time. Cancellations from clients, spending on courses, the next shiny thing. Okay, cool. Again, what I'm sort of hearing there is spending money that I'm not sure I have yet, or maybe relying on income that's not guaranteed. Cool. So it's really interesting. So when you think of these things and go, okay, these are the reasons why my money system's not working, or why I don't stick with my money system. It shouldn't be like, and therefore I'm not going to use it anymore. It should be a case of, and so what do I need to do to make it work better for me? Like, that's actually a signal that there's something you can tweak, that there's something that can work even better for you. Because what if that thing was no longer an issue for you? What if we could take that away for you? What if we could just remove that stress factor, so that the next time there's an emergency, or one of your children needs money, or you've had a few cancellations, or you want to buy another course, the money's actually there, and it's there, and you don't have all the emotion that is attached to those things. That you just know, I allowed for this. I have a plan in place. I have a system in place that actually supports me through this process. Like, how empowering would that be? What else have we got here on the list? Previously, I find it really difficult to spend on myself. Yep. So fear of lack, hoarding money. Yeah. And we talk about that a lot too, don't we, Michelle? Like making sure that this is fun money, and it's fun money for me to spend. And so maybe, at the end, when we break up to talk about what our focus needs to be, maybe that's one of your things to take away, to actually get some accountability around spending money on yourself, because that's you proving to yourself and reinforcing to yourself that it's okay to spend money and your money system's working and it's got your back. Because I know by now, Michelle, your money system's pretty down pat. I think it is. I'm pretty sure it is. I've talked to you many times about it. So how about just actually putting your money where your mouth is, literally? Do your actions match your desire? If your desire is to create wealth and to create a stable foundation, do your actions match that? If your desire is to be able to spend some money guilt-free, and you've set up the system and the money's there and it's actually labeled fun money, but you're not spending it having fun with it, your actions aren't matching your desire. So are your actions matching your desire? And, one of those fundamental actions is actually organizing your money and setting up the system so that So everything's got a nice little neat label, and you know that money is there for all these different purposes. Cool. If anyone's got a question, raise your hand or unmute yourself. How are we going for time? All right, I'm going to do a little quick whiz around to make sure you guys know where to find everything, because your homework for this week is to get your planner out. If you've done it before, go through, give it a little polish, make sure it's all up to date. If you haven't done it before and you're starting totally from scratch, this week's job is just to dump numbers into the planner and see how it looks. It's not about balancing the budget. It's not about trying to, figure everything out. It's just about gathering the data and dumping it in there and just having a little look. And if you have a strong emotional reaction, then please notice that, right? Put it on the list of, oh, here's a juicy thing that I want to dig into a little bit more. Like, I put my numbers in the planner. Maybe there was a shortfall and you haven't even cleaned it up yet, right? You haven't even looked for double ups or mistakes or anything. But, I got really upset or I got really stressed. Well, that's interesting. Put it, make a little note. So Claire saying, I'm allowing myself to spend money on myself a bit more. Yep, monthly massage. You've been great at really, Claire's actually a great example over the last couple of years of just allowing herself to enjoy money and abundance and allowing herself to have nice things. I've really seen that progress being made with you. So, yeah, using up those gift vouchers rather than saving them as well. That beautiful hot baths place that you've been going through, that looks amazing. And, yeah, there's always those little upgrades that don't cost much, which is why we start with happy habits, right? Just allow yourself to feel good. You deserve it. You've earned it. And sometimes it takes practice to get comfortable in that space. If we've been avoiding it for a long time, if we've trained and conditioned ourselves to, oh no, I can't do that yet. I've got to work some more. I've got to earn some more. I've got to hit this goal first before I'm allowed. It takes practice to unravel that. I have to say the system has made giving my grown daughters money for needs, much easier. That's right. You've taken them, on trips, and you've done amazing things for your family, Jackie, since sorting all that out. Like, it's been a huge turnaround for you from, I don't even have a car right now, and I don't think I have the money for it, to I'm taking everyone to Disneyland. Yes, need to give them a polish. Cool. So a few things there for you to ponder as you get practical, because the thing is that this practical work, it's a great opportunity to notice what's going on for you energetically. Like, when you feel funny feels or good feels, notice them. If it's good feels, celebrate them. Really celebrate the shifts that you're noticing. I know some of you are really good at that, at really celebrating how good you now feel when you think about or look at your money. But if the feels aren't that great, then notice it and know that that's something you get to work on. Don't just avoid it and stick your head back in the sand. That's not going to get you where you want to go. Okay, so which of my millions of screens I have open shall I share with you? Let's start here, actually. Yes. Sorry, I just want to make sure it's going to actually show you the other tabs. Cool. So first of all, where do I find things? I thought this was a good place to start. So we're on module 8, which is stock take. So do make sure you watch the actual video for this module. If you haven't got the book and you want to order it, here's all the links. Sorry, every Amazon site has its own separate link. There's a tutorial that takes you through the planner, which is our main tool that we use. There's also a PDF guide that kind of lays out the steps for you again as well, and they're both down here for you to download. So that's module 8 in the members site. So it's under manage. So we've kind of jumped ahead. We've done 1, 2, 3, and then we've jumped ahead to 8, and then we're going to go back, circle back. So you've also got access as a club member you've got access to the boot camp, which actually takes you through it in even more detail. And it's a series of workshops with worksheets. So you've got access to that. So if you think about it like this, at the Magnetic Money level, we've got the 3 modules, and they kind of give you the process and the overview at a little bit more of a higher level. Some people, that's all they need. They can run with that. If you need more detail and more step-by-step, then you want to jump into the boot camp, and you can like literally download individual worksheets for each little bit. Basically, the boot camp takes you through the same process as the book. It's great to have the 2 in tandem. So the other place to find the boot camp, it should be unlocked for you where I was just now on the member dashboard. So it's right under Magnetic Money Club, but it's also in here under member bonuses. So these are the things that are just for club members. There's the live support where the call recordings are, and underneath that is member bonuses, and it's right here. Okay, so that's how you get to the boot camp. And then when you open up the boot camp, it's got the 5 workshops and a bonus workshop. And again, the link to get the book if you haven't got it yet. There's a little bit of an intro workshop, which is just about actually organizing your bank accounts. And that is where we start. For you guys, because you might not need to watch the intro workshop. Depends how much time you've got on your hands. You're certainly fine to jump straight into workshop 1. So there's 4 workshops, and then there's a little Q&A call that kind of goes through most commonly asked questions. Does that make sense? The boot camp is super helpful. I'm going to be running it live again at some stage. I'm just trying to figure out when I can fit things in. Cool. So I hope that makes sense. If you've got any questions around where to find things, please let me know. But it's module 8, and then the boot camp is there for you, which you can find in the bonus tab there. And that's really helpful to give you more detail. So let me actually just quickly mention this, which is the planner guide. It sort of just breaks it down for you, reminds you step by step what to do, so you don't have to keep going back to the video. And all we're worried about for today is this page, stock take, right? We're just dumping numbers in. We're just gathering all the information to put into our money planner. And the money planner, if you don't have the current version, you might want to grab it because it's really pretty and it's got some lovely new bits and pieces. This is the money planner, which is organized into the buckets. I'm not going to go through explaining that today because that's in the module, in the recording. But it's organized into the buckets. And if you've been doing your 30 days of tracking, a lot of the numbers you can just dump straight in here. And then you just go to your bank accounts to find the rest. Just dump them in. We will do tidying up later. Wealth bucket is anything that has interest attached to it, whether it's you paying interest or you earning interest. Make sense? So you can pop all of those numbers in here. We have a nice little graph. This is just FYI, right? For you to go, I wonder like how my income's being used. Like, how's it being divided between cash, and cash is discretionary spending, bills, those extra bits and pieces, and wealth creation. So this is just an FYI. We have a little section if you've got investment properties, and we've got the business section. And then we have the business calculator. So this is, the formula I talked about before, the formula of let's turn things around and say, well, how much wealth do I want to create? What money do I need for that? What are my expenses? Okay, so what should my income be? That's the calculator you'll use. Not just yet, once we've gone through the next couple of steps and tidied up the numbers. So I'm not even going to bother actually talking about this right now, because then you're all going to want to jump in it before you're ready and start panicking, and then I have to talk you all down. So let's not do that. Okay. Would I redo the planner? You can just copy and paste into this planner probably, Silvana. I would do that. This is from October last year. Yes, thank you, Jackie. This is from October last year. And there's some new tabs. So one of the things I do want you to kind of go into and play with straight away is we added this, thanks Karen Conlon, because it was her suggestion, we added a net worth tab so that you can actually see your net worth and see it progressing over time. So put in, the value of everything you own that's an asset. So I'm just going to put a random number in here just so you can see the bottom. I have no idea how many zeros I just put in. And then you put in all your liabilities, like everything you owe, and then you can see what your net worth is down the bottom, right? And you've got a nice little pie chart to illustrate that for you, liabilities versus assets. And so the idea is that if you go in here every 6 months or maybe once a year and update it, that you'll see that progressing because you're doing the work. All right, the other thing that's worth noting and pointing out is if you need to unlock the sheet for any reason, here's the password to help you unlock the sheet. Anything that has a formula in it should be locked just to make sure that it doesn't accidentally get broken. So if you are comfortable with Excel and you know what to do and you want to play with it, that's where you find the password to unlock the sheets. We keep it in an Excel spreadsheet because it's the best way to stay flexible. If I had created an app, which I've played with many times over the years, it just becomes too rigid. And then it defeats the whole purpose of being adaptable to your needs and being suitable for people with irregular income, which is what this is all about. So we'll talk about how to manage the irregular income in subsequent calls. I won't get into that detail today. But for now, I want you to watch Module 8, dump your numbers into here. These sections here, fund money bucket, bills bucket, here's your buckets. And this is where you can go, okay, do I have the right bank accounts? So if you're not sure what this is all about, definitely watch the recording and probably watch the intro workshop in the boot camp as well. So we follow this bucket system. Your business pays you. So your business pays tax and it pays you. And then you get to divide that money up between what's required for personal bills, for personal, what we call fund money, which is anything that you choose to do, but you don't have to do. Wealth bucket, everything that has an interest, a component attached to it. Loans, credit cards, home loans, and investments. And then extras is kind of those big ticket things that you might put money aside for. So I've put examples like, birthday and holiday money comes around once a year, but you want to make sure the money's there. Splurges, and for some people it might be, I'm saving for a renovation or I'm saving up for my daughter's wedding. So we've had all these sorts of things as well over the years. Okay, I think that's all the screen sharing I had for you. Does anybody have a question about, let me just check comments. Does anybody have a question about the planner? Oh, and actually Gisela had a question for me. I'm just going to answer that before I read the comments because I just remembered. Gisela had a question and it's a little bit past what the actual focus of Module 8 is, but that's totally fine. So Gisela's question was, she's now focusing on putting all the surplus, her big focus is now paying off the mortgage, which is a big long-term goal. She's ticked off all the other small things that came ahead of that. And she's now going, okay, now I've got this big main goal. Can I maybe split my focus between that and something else like holiday money? And yes, you absolutely can. Like I always say, focus on one goal at a time. And we try to break it down into micro goals so you can tick things off faster. But then when you get to the stage where I've ticked off all the little things and you've just got this one big thing, then you can look at, okay, maybe I'll split my focus. Or maybe, Gisela, you want to go, actually, let's just focus on having the holiday fund until it hits whatever that goal is, and then just switch back to the mortgage. And that's actually going to feel a lot better because you'll hit the holiday money target really quickly. And then you can just switch it back to, all right, now all surplus and the focus is back on the mortgage again until we need to top up the holiday money again. I would probably recommend you go that way because it's going to give you a clearer focus, and the more focused you are, the more you actually become magnetic and attract that and get excited about it, and you see that goal getting ticked off faster. You can split it if you want, but then you're just going to have two things like going much slower than they need to be. So I'm always big on do one at a time, or maybe go holiday to this level, but we don't need to go on a holiday for a while yet. Offset it to your mortgage. We're going to talk about that another time if you can. And then I'll go back to that, and then I'll go back to that. Like micro goals, right? Switching up until you hit this level, go to the other one. And it just allows you to keep moving forward and to keep that feeling of momentum going. Cool. No questions that I can see that I've missed. I'm going to stop the screen share. Everyone good? Clear as mud? Excellent. Happy to hear that. So let's spend the last 10 minutes breaking up into little groups, and let's have a look. How many are we? 14 people.
Don't count me because I have to hop off here in 2 minutes.
Yep, no
Thank
probs. We'll just do little groups so that you actually have time to chat. What I'd like you to have a little conversation about is, if I asked you right now, what is the most important financial priority you have? Like, oh, I've got a credit card I really want to pay off, or I really do need to have an emergency money account. Like, just share with the others what's the first thing that comes to mind. One thing. And then have a quick chat about what can you do to help you really buckle down and get this sorted. Because over the next few weeks, that's what we're going to be focusing on, getting your money system sorted. Use the energy of the group to get it done. Like, how can you set yourself up for success? Do you need to find a buddy to do it with? Do you need to just go, no, I'm just going to spend half an hour a day doing this until it's done? Or no, I'm going to dedicate, my Friday afternoon to it. Like, just talk that out loud and make that commitment out loud to yourself and figure out what do you know works for you. So I'm going to create some breakout rooms, and sorry, that is not correct. Try that again. And you can have a little chat. And also, if you have time, share your, sorry, I can't see them now. Where the hell did, oh, there. If you have time, share what your biggest takeaway is from today. I'm just reshuffling the room. Sorry, give me 1 second. Need like elevator music or something. All right, I'm going to. Cool. 3, 3, 3, 4. There you go. So you should see that on your screen. I'll give you a warning before I close the rooms as well. Hopefully not cut you off mid-sentence. I can always tell that you're having a good time when you don't come back to the main room until the rooms actually get closed. And then I'm like booting you out. So I hope that you got some clarity around how you can support yourself to really get stuck in and get the job done. Please keep reaching out in the Facebook group. Like, if you've got questions or you're not sure about something, there's so many people there, including myself, as well as myself, I should say, who can help you and answer questions for you. There's support everywhere. So just keep reaching out, ask questions. No such thing as a stupid question. You can bring your planner onto the call next week and do a screen share. If you've got a really specific question, you can bring it onto a focus session with me. Remember, those are available if you want to jump in and grab one to jump on a quick call with me and get you sorted. Your home play, just so we're really clear what we're aiming to get done before next week or before you watch the next call if you're watching recordings, is to just dump all your numbers into the planner, just gather all that information, dump it in there, do a little bit of a run your eye through, tidy things up, but don't obsess over it, and just see what it looks like. And notice, very importantly, how you feel about it and the thoughts that are popping up for you. Very juicy, helpful stuff that we're going to do lots of good things with. Have a beautiful week. I will see you in the group, and I will see you on the next call. Bye for now.